No contracts, no paperwork, no invoices, no purchase orders, no problem. Through Freedom of Information Act request, KUAM has learned that payments were made to Guam quarantine hotels electronically and without a green light from Guam Homeland Security and the Office of Civil Defense. It was on May 7th, KUAM sent a FOIA request to BBMR Director Lester Carlson after he stated in an April 17th email to Governor's legal counsel Hai Hyun that, quote, "We have paid $142,000 to these providers in advance of executed contracts and concurrence from OCD and the General Services Agency." Civil Defense Administrator Charles Estevez seconding that, telling KUAM there was no concurrence on their end with hotel payments. Matter of fact, they don't even have a copy of the checks. Estevez responding to KUAM, quote, "From what is reflected in the AS 400, payments were made to the following hotel vendors through electronic fund transfer. On April 3rd, $100,800 paid to Wyndham Garden and $30,800 paid to Days Inn." Sources familiar with emergency disaster procurement tell KUAM, GHS, and OCD approval and involvement in procurement plays a key factor in whether or not services acquired by the local government will be reimbursed by the feds. KUAM, meanwhile, also FOIA'd for information relative to meals and or meal services for GovGuam agencies, quarantine and isolation facilities, and the Office of the Governor during the pandemic COVID crisis. In response, we received an April 22nd email written by the Governor's legal counsel, Hyun, to Estevez. Hyun stated that food services were provided by a vendor, specifically breakfasts, lunches, and dinners to the skilled nursing unit. Quarantine facilities like Wyndham, Days Inn, and Santa Fe. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner catered for the cabinet, with meals provided for directors, deputy directors, and Adelup staff working quarantine hotels. Our FOIA shows an additional 20 meals provided to the Office of the Governor. Adelup Policy Director Carlo Branch telling KUAM Governor's office staff pay for their own meals, but no documentation of that was provided. Hyun writing, quote, "This was arranged early on when as a need for the emergency. Mr. Joey Adelup has been trying to send us a contract, and his point of contact has been Rebecca Respicio." Estevez's response, quote, "Please send me a copy of the contract and food services provided to date with an invoice. Thank you." The AG's office, in the meantime, had previously told KUAM they haven't received any contracts related to COVID. And as for whether any of this will be eligible for FEMA reimbursement, FEMA spokesperson Frank Mansell says they haven't received a single piece of paperwork that he's aware of just yet. We did ask FEMA, though, whether catered meals for the cabinet and Adelup staffers would be something the federal agency would cover.
Generally, that would be called a wraparound service, but in essence, if it was for the staff, I don't know if it would be considered part of the wraparound service.
For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.